Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to this training video, how to trade the 2B strategy. This is a general public video, so there is going to be at the start a very short advertisement for what I do in my course, and please sit through that because this is probably one of the most important videos I've produced in years. The 2B strategy is absolutely kicking butt. It works on any market, virtually any time frame. It's just working brilliantly, and it will always work brilliantly because of the methodology and the trend following strategy behind it. It is a butt kicker. Okay, this truly is. In this statement I've got here, your ticket to financial freedom. Whether or not you become a member of mine or invest in my program, it doesn't matter. For the experienced traders looking at what I'm about to show you, you'll understand probably a lot of what I'm about to show you. You'll go, aha, now I see it. Because today, traders, I'm going to show you some charts, I'll show you some setups, and I'll explain a lot of what we do. I'm not going to give the complete secret sauce away unless you remember, but I promise you I will give you a huge amount of value in this recording. So it doesn't matter whether you trade stocks, Forex, all time frames, the strategies work. Now I know that over 80% of you watching this video will be experienced traders, many of you because you're still searching for a strategy or a system or a methodology. Probably that's why you're on the internet. I've probably had a hard time up till now. Over 80%. I've got over 5,000 members now, and over 80% are experienced traders. And I just want to say this: you can't go back and change the beginning. That is, if trading's been tough for you up till now, okay, today is a new day, but you can start where you are and change the ending. I love this statement. Is you can draw a line in the sand and we can approach trading differently, because what I'm about to show you today will mean a paradigm shift for many of you. It truly will. So I recommend pause the video. If you don't have a pen and pad handy, please pause the video and get one. Very important that you do. Yes, I'll go through a bit of waffle to begin with, but it's important that I lay some groundwork. Then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty, but some very important stuff here. As always, I do need to put up the risk disclaimer. There is a risk in trading. Don't trade with the rent money. In actual fact, I'd ask you to pause the video and just have a read of the disclaimer. Perhaps is a better way of putting it. The very quick advertisement, then we'll get into the real content. If you don't already have my free training manual, please visit my website. There's two free manuals that I have. I've also got the ebook, The Truth About Day Trading. Make sure you download those, get a copy of those. Even more importantly, subscribe to my let me get that right, YouTube channel. Everything I'm about to show you today, by the way, traders, for $197 you receive all of the setups, indicators that I have for NinjaTrader, TradeStation. You receive the indicators. For some of those we've just got the very basic ones that you'll see today. So they're all included. There's over 300 training videos. It's actually now over 300 hours of online video instruction. It truly is the world's most comprehensive program out there for a few $100s. It's a program that every trader must have, and if you're serious about trading and you don't have my program, shame on you. Okay, that's what I'm almost gonna say. Anyway, traders, that's the end of the advertisement, but please subscribe to my channel, visit my website, get my program, and you'll just see, and perhaps what I'm about to show you will give you an idea how comprehensive this is. So let's get into it. All right, first of all, I've got to say this: masterpieces take time. Traders, I'm amazed every day I receive emails around the world from traders, majority of them wanting really an easy ride. They want to be able to pick it up and they want to be day trading or swing trading within days profitably. We've got to remember, when we're trading against some of the best minds in the world. Thankfully for me, day trading is not about intellect. It truly isn't. It's about understanding the patterns that we see in the market each and every day. But you need to give yourself 90 to 180 days to get this down pat. You've got to master it on the simulator before you go live. If you're looking for a quick fix, unless you're already a very experienced trader where you'll pick up a lot of the strategies that I teach very quickly, you've got to give yourself that 90 days. You put yourself under unfair pressure and you will make mistakes, which in the end causes that psychological damage when it comes to real trading. So it's very important you take the time. And I'm not sure if I mentioned at the start of this video, traders, but I'm running this is unedited and unscripted, so if I fluff up on the way through and make a few mistakes on grammar or whatever, you'll just have to forgive me. Now, a very important thing here is, as we get in, and in a few minutes when we go to the charts, stop looking for the reasons why these strategies don't work. Focus on the reasons why they do work. And unfortunately, experienced traders can become so skeptical that they throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? They miss out on the important information. So please be very careful of that, because mindset is truly everything when it comes to trading. And in my coaching and with my own members, as I teach them to be asking intelligent, compelling questions such as what I'm about to show you today, traders, I want you to be asking yourself, how can I use this to improve my trading? If you're already experienced, what's great about this? Then when you look at that, when you look at your own trading, perhaps even the mistakes you make, what will I do differently next time? What can I learn from this? How can I improve my entry? How can I improve my exit? Notice the presupposition of most of these questions. It can be improved. And when it comes to trading is 90% psychology. It really is, and it will make a massive difference if you approach it with the right mindset. Because I can give you the world's best strategies, but if you suffer from what I call stinking thinking, all right, you're sunk from day one. In fact, I teach traders, particularly when I have my private coaching clients, a daily report card. What are my thoughts and feelings about today? And this is a project at the end of each day to invest 15 to 30 minutes at the end of each day doing this. You've got to remember, traders, that winning traders are willing to do the things that losing traders won't do. Most losing traders are not willing to fill out a daily report card for themselves. They're not willing to take the time, and they wonder why they're not improving. So what you've got before you is the greatest income opportunity of anything that I know of in the world. You can start literally with $1,000 and build from there. Yes, I know you might have to start with a micro account trading FX or a mini, but you can build it up and you can take it from there. And that really leads me into the next thing, which is really important. It's very important that you develop and you have what we call a compelling future. You've got to have a reason for doing it. When I deal with traders, as I talk to them, I want to find out what's really important, what's their future, what are their goals. Because let me ask you this, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Let me say that again slower. What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? It would be huge. And so what I'm about to show you, I want you to have that mindset, because you can do this. Okay, so this is a chant. It's actually a chant is an incantation. Okay, an incantation, if you look up the proper dictionary meaning of that, an incantation is a spell. Okay, and we have with my coaching clients, we've got this thing where we go 5 by 5, yes I can. 5 by 5, yes I can. 3 by 8, yes I can. Now before you think I've lost my marbles, there's a reason for this. We get in state for trading. Okay, you've got to have the right mindset, and what this means is 5 by 5 in this particular table, we're talking about trading CL, oil, the black gold. It's a little bit different, as we'll see on the next slide, if you're trading the ES, and you just simply adapt it, because with CL it's $10 a tick. So 5 by 5 means 5 trades by $50 each. That's what we call scalps. 5 quick scalps, less commissions, is around the 220 230 mark. The 2Bs, which we're going to be talking a lot more about today, is 3 by 8, because you tend to get a larger profit target with the 2Bs, and on CL the 8 to 10 tick per trade is like the sweet spot. It's a really good one. So we got this thing 5x5, yes I can, and some of our members have even recorded it over the Queen's We Will Rock You. Anyway, I won't get into that right now to digress, but it's fantastic. Trading is about mindset. Now if you love the ES, or even if you're on Forex, okay, on a standard lot, the last table's applicable. If you trade ES, all right, 5x5 is $50 is a sweet little scalp. 4 ticks, 5 ticks. You'll probably find actually 5 ticks is perfect with the with the ES on scalping, and 6 to 8 is perfect with the 2Bs, and it works really well. And here is why that's relevant. One of the important things is that you have a goal in mind. What's your daily target? Now if you're a member, if you're a member watching this and a new member, if you haven't seen it already, on my Google Drive there's a folder there with the compound table, so you can download this Excel spreadsheet and you can play around with the contract value, your investment, and your daily target, and that will then give you this overall figure. So very quickly, if you started with $5,000 capital with a maximum of a 2% risk, okay, very important is our risk management. All right, there are old traders, there are bold traders, there are no old bold traders, meaning if you want to stay in this business long term, you don't want to be bold, okay? You've got to be conservative. You've got to approach trading with the right mindset, and one of those of course is money management. A maximum risk in your early days of 2%, and preferably lowering that over time. But anyway, if you were to trade futures, I would recommend a starting balance of 5,000. Yes, I know some of you will say, look, I've been told 2,000. Well, if you've got a tiny stop, that's okay, but if you've got a stop of $80 to $100, what's 2%? Okay, that's 2% of 80 to 100 is 1.75 to 2% of 5,000. Very important. But anyway, if you started with 5,000 and your average net at the end of the day was 200 a day, in which we do need to go for 300 a day to achieve that as a minimum, okay, but our net target is, and I'm going to show you how to do this today, by the way. So but at the end of the week you want to have $1,000 in the bank, and every time you double your account, or you double your money, so you go from 5 to 10,000, you start trading 2 contracts. Okay, so Monday week we're trading 2. Then when you get up to 15,000, you start trading 3 contracts, and you build from there. And it basically comes down, within 16 weeks you're earning over $10,000 a week. Within 16 weeks, that's on 200 a day. Now before your eyes cloud over and you say, I can't do this, watch yourself talk. You can do this with the right training, with the right mindset. Be very careful of your self-talk traders. This is one of the things in dealing with my members. Straight away, watch your self-talk. Now yes, you may have to, all right, you may be, it's no good being a confident incompetent fool, okay? That's what it makes you. You've got to be confident and competent at the same time, and you do that through simulation and mastering the techniques over a period of time. But this is a realistic possibility. What if you go up to 300 a day? And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Okay, look at this here. Within, all right, 10 weeks you're on, or actually within 9 weeks you're on your 10,000 a week. This is the possibility of this. I recommend, and of course if you're a member watching this, actually it should be ad-free, okay, but if you become a member, get this the Excel spreadsheet, print out these pages, set a goal, whether it be 100 or 500 a day, whatever it is. Once you get up, and I'm not going to go above 300 a day because it just gets crazy. I mean, you can really compound their returns incredibly. Now let me also give you a very quick thing while we're on that. Now I'm recording this at 13:56 in the afternoon my time. So this makes this the Globex session, and we'll see this on the charts. Realistically, if you're trading any more than about 10 contracts on the ES or on the black gold on oil, you're going to start to get slippage. Fortunately, in the after hours market, you can nearly always use a limit order, okay, because it's ticking away fairly quietly, but you've still got some really healthy volume on ES and even gold. You can do really well on gold in the after hours market. When you look at the NQ or YM, 1 or 2 contracts is about the maximum you can realistically trade. But another thing, traders, is this: after 6 p.m. Eastern, the market, so the market closes and then it reopens at 6 p.m. Eastern, and it's called the Globex market. There's some fantastic trading. Yes, it's slower, it's a lot slower. However, if you're a newer trader, or you need to retrain yourself, or resharpen your skills or whatever, it is a great market to trade, as you're about to see. And you don't need a lot of trades, and realistically you can really you can realistically trade the ES with just the 2Bs, as I'm about to show you. You can trade the ES and the CL. You could trade both of them realistically. If you start to build some of the other setups that we have in, it might become a little more difficult for a newer trader, but you can trade a couple of markets during the New York session, or even leading into the London session. You really got to focus on one market. But even more importantly, once again, as a new trader, start with one market and build from there. Anyway, back onto this. Trading is nothing more than a pattern solving exercise. The market has a memory. We see the same patterns in every market, day in and day out. So what I'm going to be sharing with you, they're patterns. They're patterns that we see every single day. Now, when you become a member, you get it's a massive program. There's a ton of setups. I think there's over 15-16 setups now. Okay, we've got what we call the rule of 1 for Renko charts, rule of 2 for range. We've got the super scalp, you've got the 21B, 34B, 89. We've got the slingshot, so which absolutely kicks butt, as you're about to see. The T7, which is a double bottom double top with the trend, and what we call bet the farm, because it's a very high probability. Then we've got the 2B, and it can be a 3B. You can use multiple time frames. When it comes to change of trend, we've got I have 3 main strategies and counter trend, which you put on ice until you master trading with the trend. Okay, very important. But I'm going to be showing you a couple of strategies or a couple of setups that it just kicks butt. For an example, if we look at the ES today, so on the ES, where is it here? Have I got it here? Oh no, on CL, for an example, on CL today, and you'll see this when we go to the charts in a moment. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. There were 7 2 or 3Ds, 7 and for 7 winners. Okay, it just kicks butt. That was yesterday, sorry. Today there was 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. There were 8 by 8 plus ticks, and there were 2 by 7 ticks, and I don't think there was a loss there. So you can do very well, but it does take a little more skill set to learn. And in the end, traders, you need to develop what I call the sniper mentality. Unfortunately, we as traders, we have this hunter mentality built into us. We want to go out there and hunt. I believe it's just something within us all. Very important we learn to sit back and wait in patience, and there's a whole lot of slides that I show members on that, but we won't get into it now. But you've got to develop the mindset of the sniper. Very important, traders. So, and as I say here, yes, I've got 15 plus strategies, but become a specialist. Focus on only 3 or 4 strategies until you are consistently profitable. And in fact, some of the strategies I'm going to show you, they're all most of them are trend continuation. They work hand in hand. So and if you remember listening, that's right, I've got a slide showing you this in a moment anyway, but we've got the 2B, the T1, the 34B, and the T2 all work together beautifully. Now, this is what we're looking to do. The dark blue line is our higher time frame. Okay, now I bring this up, and sometimes I've been in live audiences where, you know, I see some people, they look away and, oh yeah, here we go again, trading with the overall trend. But what's really interesting is usually we hear that from losing traders or traders that are not making money. if you truly want to master the art of day trading or swing trading, what is the higher time frame doing? It's very important, traders, that we trade in the direction of a higher time frame. What we're doing on our lower time frame, we're buying the pullbacks. Okay, so we get a pullback, a retracement, and we buy in the direction of our anchor chart. It will make a massive difference. Now remember, in the end, traders, we only need 5 by 5, yes I can, 3 by 8, yes I can. So I automatically get in the chant because that ain't many trades. And so for my members watching, the T1, T2 and the 34B, that's your 5 by 5. Your 2B is your 3 by 8, and you're there. There is what? 400 a day per contract. Now up here I'm showing you the potential of just 300 a day. Now what if all of a sudden you get up to 400? For somebody that's trading 3 to 4 hours a day, this is the realistic achievable target on, say, CL or ES each day, or an active market. This is the potential. If you're trading the ES, if you're focusing on that, okay, you want 4 or 5 tick trades a day, 6 tick trades a day, and you're about to see this on the charts, the potential in doing this, how realistic this is. Now very quickly, I'm going to show you just now very quick a couple of testimonials in a way, but now this is not to say, hey, go and buy my program. What this is what members are achieving or how they're doing, and some of them are new and just where they're going with their personal trading. I love this one, and this is more of a one. John Hull, one of my members, sent me this at Christmas time, and he found this Sweet Baby Ray's secret sauce. Okay, and I think John was referring to the 2B. Were you, John? I think you were. One swig is part of your hour of power, and the hour of power is what I say to every trader, particularly my coaching clients. So I've got a lot of full-time traders. We have what we call the hour of power before kicking off trading. 5 by 5, you bet your secret sauce I can, laughing out loud. Okay, just a funny thing, but it's really true. Okay, getting in the right mindset. Just here, Andrew's target 700 per contract, trading the 34Bs, the T2s, the double tops, double bottoms, and the 2Bs together. This is a member here that's been a member for a number of years now. We just hadn't spoken for a while, and this was in August. I follow the gold every day, change my trade about 500%. Dave from Seattle, his name is. Here 2Bs, 34Bs, T2s, kicking butt. Another client that's gone. Now this is a client from trading with his live account. This does work, and we were just laughing about this in a coaching session once, is that I get, traders will say the strategies don't work. Well, crap, traders, the fact is, if these don't work for you, you're just not trying hard enough. You're not willing to put the effort in. And let me say this again, and I know some people get peeved with me and won't become members because I talk direct, but the bottom line is the only place in the world where success comes before work is in the dictionary. You've got to put the screen time in to learn the strategies. They're not complicated. They're ABC. If you can learn to drive a car in 30 days, you can learn these within 30 days. You've just got to develop what I call reflex action, which will take you 90. Right? These strategies work, and I just smirk. We're just talking about it live, how some people will complain and bitch, but they're not willing to put the work in, and that's the bottom line. You can learn these. They ain't rocket science. Now this is an interesting one. Now once again, this is about giving new confidence as a trader. This is a member, his name's Ashley Mogg actually, and he's coded some of my strategies, and with my permission I'm allowing him to sell the program, and at the moment he's coded it for the T2 and the 2B, the T2 and the 34B. And so he's approached me about selling this in, I think, November. And just very quickly, I just wanted to show you this. Now I won't go into the screenshots, but the T2 is killing at the moment. On the what's the 6J is the yen, 4 wins, 3 wins, 3 out of 4, 13 out of 13, trends beautifully, right? Because the strategies and the T2, the slingshot, is a solid, robust trend following strategy. And of course you need to be trading with the trend, so you can just as easily do it, and as most members do, let me get this out right, with the trend manually, and that's what it's really designed for. However, this is coded as a robot, so it works brilliantly also. Here, this is Robert, my first 2B in the morning, 40 seconds made 200. Yes I can, yes I can. That gets back to the chant of my members. Now a couple of these are coaching members, however it doesn't matter because it's all taught in. Now just on the coaching, by the way, I run a coaching program every month, 8 live sessions for $495 for the first, or $497 for the first month, then $197 a month thereafter if you choose to do my coaching. You don't have to do my coaching, okay? Everything's recorded. However, if you're looking at going live within a month or so, to invest a further $497 and do my coaching program will make it probably a massive difference to most traders, where we go over hundreds of trades. But start with my standard program and go from there. Now we're about to go to the charts, but this is from yesterday's coaching session, and we're about to start the new session next week in February, and you can join any time. And if you join mid-month through a session, you actually get to finish that month and you get the whole next month as well. But thanks Rafe, great coaching. See you next month. So what actually happens, traders, I've got now a couple of dozen members that do it every month, because we do it from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, so it doesn't interfere with most of them with their trading, but so they keep their full-time traders keep their skill set razor sharp. And for those that are about to go professional, it just makes a big difference. So much back for February, so you just see time, and this is only a quick snapshot. I've removed their email addresses are normally shown. Now where I've got Denzel said I've changed. He actually has resigned from his job. He goes full-time next month. Learned a lot, was worth 100 times the cost. You're welcome, Robert, because I know Robert will probably see this. And once again, you don't have to get the coaching, and this is not meant to be a big sales thing, but the bottom line is this: what it's about, the strategies work, traders. The strategies work. So let's go to the charts. Now what we're going to do, and let's see here, where do we start? Look, let's start on the ES. I want to start to just give you some ideas here. Now once again, traders, I'm not going to give away all the secret sauce, okay? Ray's baby, whatever it was, the baby, was it anyway, for rib sauce. But what I'm going to just quickly do is just share a couple of ideas with you, and let's just start with here. So this is so you can look at your own charts. We're looking at a Renko chart here. Now these strategies work on Renko, tick, time-based charts. I do prefer Renko, tick, or range personally. Time-based charts, with the big candles that you get, you can give away a big part of a move can be over. But if you prefer time-based charts, sure, the strategies work just as well. So let me start to give you a few hints. So as I said, I'm not going to give you everything, but I'll give you some really good ideas. Okay, now first of all, if you're a pure price action trader, you don't need these indicators down the bottom here. I love divergence. You do, or ideally, if you're going to trade the slingshot, you really want to have a stochastic. If you like divergence, I've got a very short-term custom MACD. That's what this is, and this is a stochastic, and I trade them a certain way, and it works brilliantly. But if you like pure price action, you can trade just pure price action. What I'd recommend, though, you do have and use the EMAs. We use those for trend direction. But let me start to just give you a couple of some feedback on some of these. Now, so this is the ES from 9:45 a.m. on the 31st of January 2019. Now up here you actually had what we call a 2D. That was a failure. Okay, 245. Oh no, you would have picked up 5 ticks. That would have been, and just very quickly, some ground rules on it. You're in on the third brick. I call them candles, and I know they're bricks technically being Renko, but if there was tick or whatever, okay, either way we're in on the third candle. This white paint bar is called my super scalper. Now that doesn't plot until I get an uptick above the second candle or below the second candle. Okay, so let me just declare that it doesn't appear till then. Now the 2Ds, my T19s, the 1Ds, the 2Ds, they're all coded. Okay, so we code them just to make it easy, so we're not repeating huge names all the time. These are our divergence trades. All right, and some are much more accurate than others. Now this 2D here, you would have been able to scalp out. Our target, by the way, would have been as a minimum the 34 EMA. Now I'll tell you that's a 34, and we have a saying, it's called follow the gold. So you want to follow the gold 34 EMA. So you could have scalped that, and I put that down as a loss or a small break even, whatever, but it did hit plus 6 ticks. And what was that target I was talking to you about before? 5 by 5, 4 by 5, etc. Okay, so there's a scalp. Now I have to declare this. What can go wrong, or what? So let me, with the skeptics, okay, the only thing where this won't work, these setups I'm about to show, is if the market is flying, okay, really pumping, you can't get your order in. Even with the market, or you're getting massive slippage, and that's with the 2Bs. The beauty of the 2Bs is because they're usually extended moves. You can really get, even if you've got a couple of ticks, 3 or 4, even 3 or 4 ticks slippage, you still can do really well with them. Okay, so if the market is moving, and this is the only reason these setups won't work, if it's really pumping, you need to trade a higher time frame, or sit it out. I don't trade news. I want to sit out when we've got a news announcement. Okay, if the market's pumping, just sit it out. Okay, now also on platforms, nearly every platform now has Renko. For MT4, if you're an MT4 trader, you may need to buy a plug-in, and I've got on my website a vendor for about $50, I think it is. You can buy a Renko and a range plug-in for MT4 that will plot, so you can plot basically exactly the same type Renko, but you can do this on range, as I said, and also tick, and I'm going to show you some tick charts in a moment very quickly. So scalp winner. Now these are all 100%, almost 100% entries. There's nothing for you to really have to guess here, except do I have a trend? And very important, I'm only interested in trending markets. Okay, so that's very important. So scalp winner. This is a beautiful 2D, some nice divergence. Likewise, I get great divergence. If the majority of 2Bs, if they're going to fail, okay, for an example, on CL today, we had 3 2Bs that failed, all after a 2D. Now a 2D is really the climax of a run, at least in the short term, but all 3 then turned into a T4. Now this is the ES we're looking at, not CL. So you may hear me say we're turning a losing trade into a winning trade, because nearly all of them turn into a T4, which is a nice trade. So and just very quickly, where does my stop go? I like to have my stop 1 tick below, or you can use a stop under an ATR or under a parabolic, and in my program I go very extensively about targets and trailing and things like that. Okay, now but let's get back to this. Okay, so if we had have entered this mechanically, and I probably would have taken that one there, and I would have been stopped on that trade, because it only ticked up 4 ticks, and I'm really after, with a 2B, I'm after 5 as a bare minimum to go to break even. That would have been a stop out for me. Then I've got another 2B. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now there are 2, 4. That one I still would have been in when I had this one. And what about, and just while we've got this, what about adding to an existing position with 2Bs? Yes, if you're already under your 2%, so let's just say you're trading with a 1% risk, there's nothing wrong with adding another contract or another lot of contracts, providing you're obeying your risk management rules of a maximum of 2% risk. We rally up, we then have a great 2D pivot bounce. Thank you very much. We then form a 3D, which is an absolute kick butt setup that we get once or twice a day per market. It works really well, and it's a pivot bounce, so those that understand pivots just know how it just increases your probabilities through the roof. We come on down. Here's a 2B again. Now there you would have actually been able to scalp, and one of the things with these 2Bs is that if we get one of the things to really consider, and this is even for members, do I have room from my entry to the 34? The further away from the 34 you are, the more likely you are to profit. So notice here we're right on the 34 and that fails. Now with this one you've actually got some distance from your entry to the 34, and that makes a big difference on your 2Bs. It turns into a T4 as we see all the time. And by the way, for members watching this, that T4 is nothing more usually than a T10 or a T2, a slingshot. That's what it usually is. We come down, we've now got a 2-3B, thank you very much, which turns in, the market is rolling into another 2B, thank you very much. We come on down now on the anchor chart, and this is where it gets interesting. We're looking at anchor charts. So traders, the anchor chart setup that I have, I've got 2 higher time frames. So this makes it a lot easier if you've got 2 screens at least. So let me show you how I let's see, it's on another screen, but let me show you how I have it set up on CL. For an example, on CL I've got my highest time frame and then a lower time frame. So I have 3 time frames on CL that I'm trading. I'm trading a 4 Renko, and I'm trading my anchor charts are a 7 and a 12. Okay, so what I'm looking at doing, traders, whether it be the ES, whether it be gold, it really doesn't matter which market it is, I'm looking at trading in the direction of the overall market trend. Now of course, one of the things that you can do, and in this case with the time frame, I can drop a 535 EMA in, and that will give me the overall direction of my anchor chart 1. So that tells me overall the bias is towards the long side with the market. Okay, that's what it's giving me, the overall bias. So I then get this was actually a 2B to the long side, nice little winner, nice little winner. That doesn't look like much, by the way, traders, but each one of these little bricks, these step ups, is worth 2 ticks. So 5 ticks is 62.50, 6 ticks is 75 per contract. Now remember, you're in basically by the close of a third candle. So 2, 4, 6, 8, it ticked up. Here 2, 4, it only ticked up 5 ticks on that one. But there's also something else about this here right now. Do I have a fanning of the EMAs? Am I in a sweet spot? We call it the sweet spot. Absolutely not. Look at my EMAs, they're horizontal. Do I have a trend? Absolutely not. However, with experience you still know you to trade in the direction and to take your 2Bs, but this is the high risk area. When we start to fan out, we start to get better quality, and so the fanning of the EMAs, and we're getting towards the end of a trading day, so it becomes a little more challenging. And by the way, let me just show you this here. This is what we call a 200 overshoot, kicks butt big time. Okay, and if previously, and it's funny I've got that there, when you see these, one of the first things I do is to drop on my charts my 535. Now the 535 EMA only works on certain time frames, otherwise you've got to lengthen or shorten the time frame to make it work. But notice here the 535, this bounce hits the 535 to the T, and this is what we call a 200 EMA overshoot. And normally you'd look at this and say, do I have any divergence? Would I take this? You bet you do. It's a 200 EMA overshoot bouncing off the higher time frame. All right, just moving along because we're running out of time, because I want to go to CL, and then we a little bit further along. Okay, that was a stopped out, but then great winner. And for exits, let's just quickly talk exits. You can use what we call the blue trigger line here, the blue line. You can use here I've got an ATR stop and flip. You can wait till that flips. You can wait until your first reversal candle. So I teach you the different exit strategies. If you're a scalper like me, where I want to get out with 8 ticks, I'm just a scalper, right? And if you're in my coaching class, you'd hear me talk about this all the time. I've got to really start letting my trades run. but scalping works for me. Like here, scalp. Now 8 ticks there. You got to remember, 8 ticks is $100 per contract. What are we after? Okay, and what I haven't pointed out is the T2s. I'll quickly talk about that in a moment, but these are all 3Bs, and you can just see here we just kick butt nearly all day with them. Now let's talk about right now. So we're now in the Globex session. Now the Globex session can be very, very choppy. Now here I've got a 3-tick Renko. During a Globex session you can drop down to probably a 2, where it's very, very slow. But as you get to learn this market and learn how to trade these, you can still do extremely well. And remember earlier I said you could actually trade 2 markets. Well, you could focus on, and what I highly recommend you do is you really, and that is a 2B, not a 2D. Right, what I recommend you do initially is to focus just on the 2B. The 3B is very closely, it's basically the same thing but just a different rule applied to it. Okay, so because it kicks butt, all right, and it's another huge thing. Remember earlier I said the only issue with this setup is speed. Because the 2B is a deeper pullback, okay, our slingshots, which I mentioned, which kicks butt to, the slingshot and the 34Bs are shallower pullbacks usually. Your 2Bs are a deeper pullback, and when you understand the rules, get ready, get set, go. So once you understand the rules, you say to yourself, when condition 1, get ready, get set, go. And that's very important for trading, that you learn rules-based strategies. Very important. Now if we look at this here, very, very quickly, we've got a plain vanilla every day of the week T19 here. And what's a T19? A T19, is a classic divergence trade. Okay, high, lower high. Look at that there. Just a really sweet one. Okay, this is another 200 overshoot. Remember I mentioned they kick butt? There it is there, and it turned into a 2B again. Right, then that turned into a 2D to the long side. But here now we're mid-afternoon during the Globex session, so it's time to really sit this out. That's what I'd sort of recommend, to sit out until the open of usually about 8 a.m. London time, which is about 6 p.m. my time, 5 p.m. 6 p.m. The market really starts to pick up as we lead into London. And so at the moment we're what is it there, so what's the time there? Let me just get this up and I'll just tell you the time. It is 11 it's 23:24 Eastern Standard Time there, so it's getting close to midnight. Most traders, you'll be off to bed anyway. The reason I say most traders, 95% of my trade, oh actually it's 90% are US based. All right, let's have a look at CL. Now I want to show you CL, and CL black gold is another great market on volume. If you're a new trader with volume, CL typically turns over about 600,000-700,000 contracts a day, where the ES typically turns over 1.5 to 2 million contracts a day. The NQ, the Nasdaq, is about 500,000 a day. And of course then you've got the financials, the other markets, and of course Forex and whatever. As I said, this works great. You can use a full range on Forex if you're a Forex trader, or you might go for an 89 tick. Of course you don't, volume candles are great on most markets. You don't have volume unfortunately on Forex, and they work exactly the same on stocks. So let me just be very quick here so we can keep this video under an hour. What we're looking, this is the open of a Globex session yesterday, so I'm about to show you full 24 hours. Very slow. Now I'm looking at here on CL a 4-tick Renko, which means each one of these bricks is worth $40. Each one of these hash marks where it comes down is worth $20, or 2 ticks. So it's very, very slow. So the 4 range, I got the 4 tick or point, I can use very comfortably during the New York session, and really 24 hours. But once you get into the Globex session, it really slows down. So I still might use the, sorry about my squeaking chair there, sorry, I've got a standing desk, so I'm standing at my desk now. What was I about to say? So during the Globex session, you might want to drop down to a 2, and that's one of the things here, is that what I'm actually doing during the Globex session, I'm toggling between my Renko and my tick charts. So, and I'll show you that in a moment. I'll just get a little further over here, then I'll show you how I do that, just to give you a couple of ideas. So very slow. So during the Globex session, I like on CL an 89 tick, and during New York I like a 233 tick. All right, so my anchor chart, and if I'm trading the 233 tick, which is my favorite tick chart to trade during New York, I use an anchor chart of 610. My anchor chart on the 89 tick, if I am trading off the 89 tick chart, is a 233 tick. The fib numbers, they don't have to be. I converted to fib numbers a few years ago, just because thousands of my members use them, so I just thought I'd jump on board. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time. So we rally up, we get a nice, it's very slow, T19, nice double top. These are all very mechanical entries, by the way. We then form a 2B as the market rolls. So this is just a typical pattern. Okay, now what I'm looking at here, traders, as the market starts to roll, I'm looking at a 7 and a 12 Renko. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so I've got a 7 and a 12. That's the time period. So they're my anchor charts, my higher time frames. The market starts to roll. I'm looking for all trades in the direction of the trend, and I'm just going to scroll across here quickly so we can get through a lot. Okay, this comes down here, and if you're new to CL, or maybe you do trade CL and you'd like a couple of quick tips, CL bounces really well, of course, off round numbers, 54, so we get a great bounce here at the 54 a barrel. 20 cent and 80 cent levels, these sort of key levels, besides my pivots. Okay, so the pivots, you get a lot of pivot bounces. Pardon me. So what we can see here, this extension, this is what we traditionally call a T3. No divergence, but a real fast move. No divergence on the entry, but we have divergence on an anchor chart. Just a very high probability trade. It's also a 54B. Just have to quickly have some of my coffee there. There's a 54, so we're bouncing off the $54 a barrel. It then turns into a 2B. Now my target generally with a 2B is 8 to 10 ticks, is what you're after with your 2Bs. 8 is a really good number. If you're trailing, like here, you can see you can pick up easily 20-40 ticks. Now remember, what's our target? Let's just come back to this for a moment. This is really important, traders, that we think about this. Right, our target here is, and I'll show you it on CL, is 5 by 5, so 5 net trades. So at the end of the day, after any losses of my scalps, we want to walk away with 5 after commissions and brokerage of 220. 200 is the round number. With our 2Bs, we want to walk away with at least 3 8-tick trades after any losses. That's 400 a day. That's what we're after. Okay, so here's our 2B. Thank you very much. And there, if you're trailing using either the ATR or the parabolic, okay, you're well and truly, you've actually wrapped your trading up, if you choose to, with a 2B. Well, what if you want to keep going? What you might choose to do then is only be willing to give back so much. Another thing too is when you get to trading multiple contracts, once you hit your daily goal of say $400 or $500 per contract, what you can actually do then is cut down the number of contracts that you're trading, so you can keep trading. If you pick up a couple of sweet spots, you're laughing, but if you have a couple of setbacks, it's not major, so you can just cut that back. So a 2B, got another great 2B. Now this is a 2B, but when you looked at your anchor chart, you are hard up against an uptrending 89, and this is where, traders, your anchor charts come into it. So you had a very strong uptrending 89 EMA, so you were selling into very strong support. Now even if you had have taken it, you can add it in if you like, because you're still kicking butt anyway. So you've got another that's 2 4 6 8. There's another 8 winner. That's 10 12, whatever it is. Now this for members watching, this actually turned into a 2D. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're setting new higher highs here. Let's keep moving. Now traders, some of the things that here may be quite foreign that I'm saying to you if you're a new trader. Here's what you've got to do. You've got to realize it's a little bit like learning a new language initially, but you have what I call aha moments. I nearly had a slide, actually. I had a slide with a member that sent me in a slide. He sends it in quite regularly. He just says aha, meaning that the light switched on. Now I understand. Now I see it. All right, so watch yourself talk. You can do this. You can learn this. Just be kind to yourself and give you yourself that 90 days. You got this incredible income possibility. And here's what happens: the older you become, the more skeptical you become. Natural fact, and I talk about this with my one-on-one coaching clients and the group coaching clients. Some people say, well, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Well, in Psychology Today there was a great article. You can. It just takes a bit longer, right? They can hold on to the information just as well. It just may take them a little longer to pick the information up. Now what I wanted to point out here now, remember our 5x5s. So what I've got tearing up here is slingshots and 34Bs and rule of ones. My black dots are what we call rule of one trades. Okay, so they're all the way. There is your 5x5 just in that little run there. Okay, you've finished your trading for the day. This is a 1-2D. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, 1. That actually touched 12 ticks. Now remember, just because it touches doesn't mean you got filled and that turned into a trend continuation trade. But right there is your 5x5s. Yes, I can. Let's keep moving. Let's have a look here. Just move along a bit further. Okay, another 3D. Now remember, we're going in from the fourth candle. 20, 40, 60. That's 7 ticks there. Now remember, when you're trading your counter trend trades, you've got to be prepared for bounces a lot earlier. Okay, your 1, 2, 3Ds are your best. Okay, particularly when you're right at the pivot. Note here, we're not quite at the pivot yet. Here we're at the pivot. Thank you very much. Another classic 2B, rule of one. Okay, we've got some slingshots on the way up. Then we've got basically a triple top. If you looked at, and let me just show you this. Let me go to this here. So on the let's see, I'll just try to show you this. When I'm recording, sometimes I can play a bit of havoc, but you can see here on the higher time frames it's much easier to look at this sort of triple top formation that you get. So what in the end we're doing, traders, we're trading in the direction of these higher time frames. Now while I'm on these higher time frames, let me just give you another little tip. See my ATR here. You can use, once again, you can use your trigger line, which is the blue line. You can use an ATR, you can use a parabolic, and in my program I teach you this. But when you've got your two higher time frames basically confirming that downtrend, we want to take every trade that we get on our entry chart in the direction of that. So for an example, when we roll over here, okay, we want that, we want that, we want that. We're on every one of those because your higher time frame, your anchor charts, is screaming down. Okay, take every one of those, so you're in on a much lower time frame. Now Robert Miner wrote an excellent book some years ago now, just on the power of using an anchor chart. Now three time frames is a little confusing for a newer trader, and I've only really started the last 6 months using a third higher time frame, you can quite as easily do it just with simply 2 time frames. All right, you don't have to go to 3, but it helps, and as you go along you'll see the benefits. It's sort of a more advanced strategy, but it's very, and we've got members now only trade with the 3. Okay, only trade with the 3 time frames. All right, so here that was a T19 pivot bounce. Now your T19s is your weakest move. All right, and that one actually failed. Now if you're following the trend, winner, 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 winner. Okay, now you've got a fantastic here. This is a T19 2D. It was just a marginal one for my members watching it, but but you can see that was a nice one. Remember back on our anchor charts, we're screaming, we call that a T8 condition, by the way. When you've got a T8 condition, you're taking every with trend trade you can, and it kicks butt big time. Now this is where is every trader's challenge is this. Okay, so we're down at a round number. You see the black line, so we're at 5380 level. See that black line there? We're right at a midline pivot, that blue line, and our EMAs are sideways. These are the areas that you need to watch, and it's what we call chop. Every trader has the challenge in these areas. What's the answer to them? Once you get in a chop, to sit it out and wait until you get a fanning of the EMAs, and we have a rule that show, or some ideas at how to do that. Okay, but you still had there was a 2B there. If you had have taken that 2B that failed, it then turned into a winning T4. As I mentioned, many of those, nearly always you get a T4 straight after. Winning 2B, winning 2B, winning 2B. These are all mechanical. Okay, so for the skeptics watching this, you don't have to become a member. I don't really care. It's not going to break my bank account. Okay, but for the traders that are really taking this in, that are asking the right questions, how can I use this, how can I improve my current entries? And very important too, if you're an experienced trader, here's what I say to you: don't stop what you're doing. Look at what I teach and you say, how can I take what Ray teaches to improve what I'm already doing? What's the presupposition? You can already improve what you're already doing, and you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, very important. But I haven't come across too many traders yet that haven't been able to improve what they already do, but like what we're already doing. However, it comes down to mindset. I learn something off someone each and every day. I get it. My coaching members, and actually, I've got to tell you this. Look, just while we've been chatting here, I've had four emails just since we've been chatting from members asking questions and giving me some feedback on bits and pieces and things they're doing. Right, just since we've been chatting here, and that's what our community is about. And as one member described, I've got to show you this. Just stay with me for one second. I've got to pull this up and show you. Just very quickly, traders. This is my Google Drive. So when you become a member, and just stay with me here because this is really important. Okay, there are literally, it's probably in the thousands now, resources and research reports and indicators, new recordings and uploads. There's spreadsheets, there's Excel spreadsheets, there's ebooks, videos. There's hundreds and hundreds of items here. It's the last stop or website you'll ever need to belong to. I mentioned here the 2B, which I'm producing new material on the 2B continually. I produce new videos most weeks. I've got new videos. We've got indicators coming in. For an example, if you trade with NT8, one of my members, NinjaTrader 8, just yesterday sent through a pile of workspaces for, where is it, NT8. Yeah, so Trader Bougie, he's from Canada. He's been a member for a long time, sent through some templates, etc. So in my program, you're getting all of these are free. They're all just included. Okay, I don't have indicators for every platform, but there's tons of stuff. New member downloads, stuff there for futures, Forex, 34B, ton of research reports on how to trade with 34B, which is a good 75-85% like the 2B. But I just felt compelled to just show you that. Now I also want to show you why, as we close, why this is so important that you learn to trade with multiple time frames. So this is the Globex Open today. It's ticking along quite quietly. Okay, first of all, nice winning 2B, 2468. Now you were not filled with your 8 ticks until over here. You had another potential entry here. Okay, and if you're under your 2% rule, both of those you could have added to that. Okay, now up here we then had a 2B on our anchor chart 1 and 2. So let me show you this. So on our anchor chart 1 and 2, which is right there, that's that point there. Okay, now there's a major setup here, and my members, and I won't go into what it is, my members will know this. Okay, look at this here, we're at the 89, and over here, right? This is a everyday run-of-the-mill setup. Now on the entry chart, your lower time frame, what may appear just to be a spike in the market, do we trade this, we're oscillating yes or no, okay, is a yes, screaming yes, and it was bouncing off the 20-cent level on CL. This comes down, we then had a 2D. Now 2D are the best of the best when it comes to divergence trading, the best of it, and you get these great extended moves usually. And I'll tell you what it is. See the 89 EMA? When you've got a 2D, that is our target. The 89 is the target, is like a magnet with your 2Ds. Now just before we finish off, I just want to show you what else I'm doing when I do this. Very important, traders, is I'm looking at the 89 and the 233 tick. One of the Renko charts are fantastic for smoothing out price action, but one of the issues when you smooth out the price action, traders, is that you can also lose some valuable information. For an example, on the 89 tick, which works brilliantly during the Globex session, which we've got there, so we've got great divergence and we've got a 200 overshoot, and let's look at our full Renko, okay, which is there. It's not showing us there that we've actually got divergence. Okay, so we're missing out on some valuable information. Yet on the tick chart, there's some very valuable information there about what is happening on our chart at that time. So what you want to do over a period of time, and just one other thing before is you're also looking at your 2 Renko, and I should have pointed that out. So on the 2 Renko, now we can see when we drop the time frame down, we've got a nice little bit of divergence. We are at the pivot level there, as we can see. So look, I've shared it, and we've gone over an hour now, a bit over an hour. I've shared a lot of information with you, traders, because there is a fair bit to mastering the art, okay, but it's all teachable. It ain't rocket science. And it's about having your cheat sheets in front of you. It's about just learning the small things, getting the screen time. I give you everything you need, but one thing I can't give you is the discipline and the screen time. Okay, you've got to implement that. You must do that, traders. But you can learn this. But what you've got to do is you've got to be realistic on your time frame. I'd love to say to you, you're going to be hammering this out and getting your 500-600 a day per contract in 7 days. Is that possible with the 2Bs with an experienced trader? Of course it is. Very right. Experienced traders will pick this up very quickly. Other traders will take longer. You have what we call these aha moments. So traders, I've given you a lot of information today. I could show you hundreds of testimonials now. Yes, people are going to say the strategies don't work, but traders, you just saw trading with the trend. The entries are the entries. It ain't rocket science. But anyway, I'm going to finish up here. You're probably ready for bed if you're watching this in the evening. So thank you very much. Become a member, traders. If you want to find out more about my coaching as well, on my website, it needs to be updated a little bit. There's a coaching tab at the top. As I mentioned, it's $4.97. So if you are really looking at going full-time very quickly, you can't go wrong with the coaching. But what you can do, start off with my program at $197. You get everything. There's nothing held back, except with the coaching we're just going over what's happened that day and step by step. We go over hundreds of trades basically every day. But thank you, traders. Hope to see you as a member, and certainly I hope you get a lot out of this. Go back over it again if and I've just got to finish on this one thing. When I watch someone else's video on trading or read a book, what's that one thing that might make a difference to my trading? That's what I'm always thinking. What I've discovered, having that mindset, what can I learn from this? How can I use this? Has just made this massive difference, this massive shift in my life, in my trading, and in my members trading. Why don't you try it? Thanks, traders. Bye.